Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back. We have the Orico M.2 SSD enclosure, Type C of course, and yeah, it's a 20 gigabit enclosure. So now, this is a thing. You best be making sure first you have at least 3.2 Gen 2 by 2 for your bus, otherwise you're only going to get 10 gigabit speeds. And but I bought this to not only, do a review for you guys, but the main thing is I thought, well, my Mac does have Thunderbolt 3, and it does go backwards downward. I wonder if it can actually do a 3.2, technically, because of that whole Thunderbolt port. And that's what we're going to discover right now as we do this. So, yeah, no unboxing. The drive that I have in here is a Western Digital. It's a PCI Express 3 drive. It's rated at 3500 by 3500. Yeah, we're going to do some testing on the PC and also a quick test on the Mac as well, just to confirm all suspicions or, things that may be going on. I did read a couple of Amazon reviews myself where, they're like, well, this is not 20 gigabits and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, it's a 20 gigabit system, but maybe you only have 3.1. And that is entirely probable too. So, first of all, you want to check your device manager, okay? So we're going to go to the control panel here, and we're going to go to the device manager. And the first thing you want to look at, this will save you from ordering it if it turns out you don't have the equipment for it. But we're going to go to Device Manager. We're going to go to Universal Serial Bus Controllers. Now, at the very top of the list is where you're going to find out about your Type C port on your laptop. And right here it tells us it's USB 3.10 Extendable Host Controller 1.20 Microsoft. Okay, and it's also Intel USB 3.20 Extendable Host Controller. So we have a 3.2 that can go downward to 3.1, obviously, but it doesn't say anything about 3.2 Gen 2 or 2 by 2. Now they do get very specific on this drive on the Amazon website as far as what you're going to need. So if I quickly go into my browser here, because I've got it favorited, I'm just going to read you the website. And it says right up top, Orico upgraded aluminum enclosure M.2 NVMe SSD enclosure reader to 20 gigabits to USB 3.2, 3.1 Gen 2 to M.2 NVMe PCIe M keyed SSD external adapter support, UASP trim smart, fits NVMe SSDs from 2230 right on up to 2280. By the way, it's a rubber grommet inside, and they give you a silicone heat thing as well as a metal shield to put over top. It's quite cool. Anyway, so this thing's like 50 bucks Canadian. It's not bad. Has 20 ratings on it. Now, some people, of course, that do have the proper bus are experiencing very good speeds, which is fantastic. But there are those that say not 40 gigabit capable. Well, that's because this is a review from obviously another drive that they thought that they bought that was 40 gig. And maybe they just don't have the bus for it because they don't have Thunderbolt 3 or 4, which would be 40 gigabits, same as USB 4, right? But yeah, anyway, so the guy says he's maxed out at 3100 megabits or megabyte sequential read and 1500 write. Now, to me, that says, well, definitely your drive could be part of your problem, in that sense, because some drives do happen to run better than others. In which case, if you're after a 40 gigabit speed rated case, then you have to use a PCI Express 4 drive in it. Otherwise, yeah, forget it. And you're going to need a fast one too at that, which means you're going to have to go at least to a 7000 by 6000 for sure. You could go with a slightly slower one that's a little over 5000, and you should still see an easy 2900 megabits per second read-write consistently in that case. But this review that he's listed up here has nothing to do with this particular drive. This is a 20 gigabit version. So in theory, we should have the correct USB 3.2, but it does not specify as far as being 2x2, which is something that, yes, you do need the 2x2, because if you read further in the ad, it says speed USB 3.2 Gen 2 times 2 support for speeds to 20 gigabits, or gigabits per second. Okay, so we have a 3.2 bus on here, but we don't have Gen 2x2 because it doesn't say it. So that means we're going to be limited for our speed from what we read up, and that's exactly what we're going to test right now. And so you'll be able to see the results yourself on how that goes. Now, I've even tried plugging the cable in different direction, and that didn't make any difference either, because sometimes flipping the cable around, I have definitely run into that with a Sabrent drive when I use a USB A to C adapter into my hub, so I can, because my Thunderbolt ports are both in use on the Mac. And so if I flip the thing in the wrong way into the adapter, it runs slower than snot. If I flip it around the other way, well, then I get like basically 400 megabits per second, right? But it should run faster, which it does on Type C. It'll actually get me 900 megabits per second, or megabytes per second. But that's Type C connection, because it's a Type C to Type C cable and drive enclosure, so yeah. You should easily see that. But so is Thunderbolt, the same connection, but different bus lanes or lanes or data lanes, right? Thunderbolt works a little bit differently, but Thunderbolt is still not going to be 3.2 Gen 2x2 unless it's specific to the computer that it actually is. Otherwise, it's not. So here we see we got 1065.54 on the read for megabytes per second, and we have 996.20 megabytes per second on the write cycle. So that says that, okay, realistically, we know we have a 3.2 in this computer, but we also know that it is not Gen 2x2. Okay, so we're not going to get the Gen 2x2 speeds, which should be actually pretty quick. We should be running at least probably somewhere around 2,000, maybe 2,200 read and write, depending on the drive. Now, I also did try a Kingston PCI Express 4 drive in this case, and it didn't make any difference. Okay, we're getting the same sort of results. So anyhow, so that's the PC side. Now we need to move over to the Mac side next and see what's going on the Mac side. So first of all, I need to eject my one drive here, and I'm going to need to lean over here to unhook it. And we can unplug this. Come on, there we go. And come on, get in there. All right, that's in. Now let's go over to the Mac side. And it's called PC Backup is the name of the drive. Let's fire up Blackmagic and select target drive, PC Backup, open, and let's hit it. So we're pretty consistent here, about 850 read and 803 write. That's consistent with the bus being 3.1, okay, which in this case disk speed test always reads slightly lower anyhow. There's another program I have called Antimorphous. I wonder if that's going to make any difference, because that's more like a PC version of the thing, and this has got a read and write thing too. So 1 gigabit and PC backup. Yes, choose, and we'll just do the top one, and we'll see what the difference is. Because disc thing, we already know always reads slightly slower on the Mac. So, and formatting routine helps too. The Mac will actually run it a little bit slower in numbers if you're not on APFS, so you do need the APFS to get the top speeds. So this is the numbers we're getting here from this one, which is actually slower, right, than our Blackmagic disk speed test. Okay, but I don't know much about this program other than it's basically the Mac version of Crystal disk speed test. So, but that's interesting that we got these speeds too. So either way, even if you are into a Mac and you are on an M1 system, for example, the M1 does have Thunderbolt 3 at 40 gigabit. I have Thunderbolt drives by Indamin with PCI Express 4 Kingston KC3000s in them that run at 7000 by 6000, and I get a consistent speed of over 2700 megabytes per second read and write. So we know that Thunderbolt 3 is definitely fine. Our 40 gigabit per second drive is fine because it's specifically designed as a Thunderbolt system. This is not a Thunderbolt drive because Thunderbolt is not in the 20 gigabit per second range. It's actually into the 40s. Okay, and Thunderbolt 5 would actually be a lot faster than that. But unless you have the port, you're not going to get the support, right? And that's where we're running into this here, is we definitely know that the Mac is Thunderbolt port cannot run as a Gen 2x2. We know that our current PC, even though it has 3.2, it's not 3.2 Gen 2x2, so therefore we do not get the Gen 2x2 speed. So you must make sure that your specific USB-C port on your PC laptop or even your desktop would be a 3.2 Gen 2x2, and you will achieve that 20 gigabit per second range. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at on this one here. As far as that goes, and like I said, I did try a KC3000 drive unit in this. It didn't make any difference whatsoever. Sorry for leaning over, I'm just plugging stuff back in here. Alright, get that back in, and I'll recheck my Thunderbolt drive, make sure everything's hunky-dory on it. But yeah, I mean, for 50 bucks, it's a good price for the case. Especially if your computer has the requirements hardware to be able to run it right, and you know, but you don't need an Express 4 drive for 20 gigabit to work properly. You can be fine with an Express 3, but I would go for the fastest Express 3 35 by 35 or a 35 by 3000. Nothing lower than that, otherwise you might not get the top capable performance, which I've tested many drives in different ranges on Express 3 and 4 and found that, yeah, unless you have a certain type of speed on that drive for its version of Express porting, it's not going to get you the optimal speeds possible. You do need the faster drive for that. So, anyways, check out my Thunderbolt drive, make sure it's got plugged back in the right way, and yeah, it looks like we're rocking again, so we're good to rock and roll on that. Now, quality of the casing. Let's take a little peekaboo down here at the drive unit here. Now, the quality of the aluminum closure is really good. I had to put the cable around the other direction to get it on here. So the aluminum closure is nice. It's actually a nice thick lid too. The one thing I did find with this, that even with the heat shield on there and the silicone that they give you to lay underneath first, there's still a big air gap, and this is only held in with the drive with a rubber grommet. Now the case does support all the drive sizes from the smallest up to the full-size longest ones, which is fantastic. There are cases that don't, right? So I've got the full-length drive in here. But I had to add an extra 2mm silicone pad to the top of the heatsink to give me enough squash down power, like just enough that I can get that little bit of extra pressure to make 100% sure that if this thing ever dropped, which it could very well do, that the drive would not pop loose inside with the grommet. Because, I mean, let's face it, it's a rubber grommet. Rubber will deteriorate over time. Might take a number of years, but it's still going to do it, okay? So I want that assuredness that that drive is in there solid. It's never going to move no matter what. And that did the trick just perfect. So, but I do like the case. It's a gold color, which is kind of nice. Too bad I don't have a MacBook Air anymore because it would match it. But they do have other colors. They do have other drives, obviously, too, for the cases. So be careful when you're ordering off the website to make sure you get the correct case for what you're going to need to do. So, but rest assured, it is an authentic 20 gigabit drive, but we just don't have the port support to run the 20 gigabit, which I thought maybe with the Thunderbolt on the Mac side, we would have been all right, because, you know, Thunderbolt 3, 40 gigabit, it should go down lower because, you know, Apple says we can go 40 gigabit, you know, Thunderbolt 3 on the M1 Mac Mini, and it can also go backwards compatible too, and that's the problem. It's the misunderstanding that people are having. It goes down backwards compatible. Doesn't mean the bus actually can do Gen 2x2 3.2. It just means it can plug in and it can work on everything straight on down. And even when you plug in this, you can actually go to USB 3.0 without any issue. Mind you, the speed is going to be even slower, okay? Definitely slower, like about 300 and change read and write is about the best you can get with the Type A to C conversion thing. But I do like the drive. I think it's worth the money. And besides, once I upgrade to an M2, I should be fine. I'm actually going to check the Apple specs out on the M2 first. Maybe I'll have to wait for an M3. But either way, this is, you know, for me, I'm just going to use this as a external drive for on my PC for backing up software and stuff. It's only a terabyte, but I've only used up 250 gigs so far, so I have lots of free space there for other PC files, because I'm eventually going to go a little download happy probably this winter at GOG and buy a bunch of games that I like and put more games on my computer and, you know, that sort of thing, and keep the backups on here with the rest of the other backups. And then, of course, have another backup of all the backups, because, yeah, you'd never be too safe nowadays. But anyway, that's it. That's all. I think it's worth the $50 for sure. And it gives me something faster for in future when I have a faster machine to get me to that 20 gigabit access point on this. So, to me, it's kind of like a little future proof on that side of the fence. And I can use any drive I want, and I have extra NVMe drives. I can just crack it open, take out the one that's in there, pop in another one, you know, and then collect the sticks, whatever, you know. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Realistically though, looking at this from the realistic standpoint, considering it only does basically 3.1 speeds, or 3.2 Gen 1 speeds, I guess. Yeah, it would be a waste of money if you're expecting the 20 gigabits, but not a waste of money if you're future-proofing yourself, where you're going to end up with a laptop that may have already Gen 3.2 times 2. Then you're all set, you know, because not every laptop has Thunderbolt ports, but a lot of laptops out there have Type C version 3.1 or 3.2 or 3.2 Gen 2, 2x2, and this gives you a lot more speed than, you know, a 3.1 bus drive. You know, kind of like our Sabrent drive case as well. I mean, it's a $30 case, but it's limited to about 900 and change read and write. This is actually getting us a little bit more, you know, and with the same drive, because these are both identical drives inside. So yeah, I'm actually getting a little bit more out of this than I do out of this. But that's probably the difference between 3.1 only and something that is 3.2 on this side. And my bus does have 3.2, but not the Gen 2x2. Anyway, that's it. That's all. 4.5 out of 5 is where I'm sitting with it. I think it's definitely worth the money, but you will get the silicone thing shield for your drive with it, as well as a metal shield that goes over top. But get yourself some more silicone shield things, unless you already have some, and about an extra millimeter, maybe 2 mm thickness one. Just cut it in half and just put it at the back side of the drive, where the screw is here. Put it on the back of the shield there. That'll give you enough extra pressure, because it's not a much, but it's enough that you know you can feel it, that it's resisting a bit, and that guarantees you that drive is never going to pop with that grommet in there. So, but I would put the same thing on all of the drives that have rubber grommets. I think screws are better lockdown security than a rubber grommet is, but you know, hey, we get what we get, right? Anyway, that's it. That's all. Thanks again for watching. Catch you on the next one.